The year was 2479, and humanity had finally become a spacefaring civilization. Across the Milky Way, colonies glowed on distant worlds like tiny fireflies scattered through the dark. Yet even after centuries of exploration, humans still ask the oldest question of all: are we alone in the universe? Captain Elias Ward sat in the command chair of the Artemis Dawn, a long-range exploration vessel built for deep space missions. The ship was sleek and quiet, moving through the void with grace. Its silver hull reflected faint starlight as it drifted near the edge of the Icarus Nebula, a region filled with swirling purple and blue gases. Inside the ship, the crew worked silently. There were only 8 of them, each chosen for their skills and calm under pressure. Among them were Lieutenant Rena Hale, the communications officer, Dr. Morgan Voss, the chief scientist, Engineer Luca Terran, who could fix anything from engines to alien relics, and AI Astra, the ship's artificial intelligence, whose voice echoed softly through the control room. "Captain," Astra said, breaking the quiet hum of the ship, "I am detecting a repeating signal, frequency unknown. It appears to originate from within the nebula." Elias leaned forward, his curiosity instantly awake. "Let's hear it." Rena adjusted the console and the sound filled the room. At first it was just static, like wind howling through broken glass. Then slowly the noise became a pattern, soft pulses, steady and rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. Dr. Voss frowned. "That's not natural. It's too organized. Can you translate it?" Elias asked. Rena's fingers flew across the holographic keys. The AI began decoding, translating the data into text. The room fell completely silent as the translation appeared on the screen. Only 3 words flashed in glowing blue letters. "Are you alone?" For a long moment no one spoke. The air in the cabin felt colder. Elias slowly exhaled. "That's in English," he said quietly. Luca laughed nervously. "Maybe it's a prank. Someone could be bouncing old Earth signals back at us." But Astra's calm tone cut through his words. "Negative, Engineer Terran. The message's origin lies deep within the nebula. No known human colonies or ships are located there. The signal is at least 10,000 years old, possibly older." Rena whispered. "Then how can it speak our language?" No one had an answer. Elias stood, his mind racing. The nebula was dangerous, filled with radiation storms and unpredictable gravity waves. But curiosity had always driven humanity forward. "Plot a course toward the source," he said firmly. "We'll take a closer look." "Captain," Astra warned, "the nebula's electromagnetic interference could disable shields and navigation. Entering may risk the ship and crew." Elias looked out the viewport. The swirling colors of the nebula glowed like a living thing, beautiful yet mysterious. "We came out here to find the unknown," he said. "If we turn away now, we might never get another chance." The engines roared to life and the Artemis Dawn turned toward the storm. As they entered the nebula, the ship shuddered under waves of static energy. Bright lightning flashed through the clouds of gas and the magnetic fields pulled at their systems. The lights dimmed and flickered, shields holding at 60%, Luca reported. "But if this keeps up, we'll be flying blind." "Maintain heading," Elias said. "How close are we to the signal source?" Rena checked her console. 2 million kilometers in closing. "But I can't pinpoint the exact location. Something's distorting the readings." Suddenly, Astra's voice rose in alarm. "Captain!" Massive metallic structure detected ahead. Estimated diameter 30 kilometers. "No known design matches." The crew leaned forward as the image appeared on the main screen. Emerging through the clouds was a massive shape. A circular structure half buried in the atmosphere of a dark, uncharted planet. It looked ancient, scarred, and silent. Dr. Voss murmured, "It's beautiful. Like a fortress or a temple." The surface shimmered faintly, and strange energy patterns rippled across it, forming symbols that looked almost like eyes staring back at them. Elias whispered, "It's calling us." The Artemis Dawn descended slowly toward the planet's surface. Dust storms roared, but beneath them lay ruins. Towers collapsed and half swallowed by time. The air shimmered with faint blue light. When the ship landed, the crew stepped out wearing light exosuits. The ground beneath their boots felt like glass, smooth but cracked. The air was still, carrying no sound except the faint hum of energy beneath the ground. "Scanners show no life signs," Rena said. "It's completely dead," Dr. Voss pointed ahead. "Not completely. Look." In the distance stood an enormous gate made of metal and stone, carved with symbols that pulsed faintly like a heartbeat, the same rhythm as the original signal. Elias approached slowly. "This is where the message came from," he said. Astra's voice echoed in their helmets. "Caution, Captain. Energy readings are unstable. Proceed carefully." The gate opened by itself. No sound, no movement. Just a slow parting of metal as if welcoming them. Beyond it lay a vast chamber lit by floating lights. Holographic panels flickered alive as they stepped inside, showing strange symbols and moving figures. The walls were covered with murals, tall, slender beings with luminous eyes, building cities that floated in the sky. But then the images changed. The same beings were shown fleeing as dark clouds consumed stars, Rena whispered. They were powerful. And then they vanished. Suddenly the ship's AI came through again. "Captain, I am receiving a secondary signal from inside the structure." Elias nodded. "Trace it," the AI responded after a moment, its voice softer, almost uncertain. "It is speaking again." Everyone froze as the voice echoed through the chamber. Clear, calm, and unmistakably feminine. "You have come far. Human." The words didn't come from the AI or the radios. They came from everywhere, the air itself vibrating like a living presence. Dr. Voss looked around in awe. Did it just call us human? Elias swallowed hard. Yes, and that means it knows what we are. Lights began to move along the walls, forming shapes, tall figures bowing before a throne. At the center stood a silhouette of a woman-like being with wings of light. "She's communicating," Rena said, her voice trembling. "These are memories. Maybe she's showing us her world." The holograms grew brighter. They showed towering cities, endless fleets of ships, and then chaos. The skies turned red as enormous shadows devoured everything. "She's warning us," Elias murmured. "They were destroyed by something." The voice returned, quieter now, filled with sorrow. "We built, we dreamed, we reached, but we were not ready." Then silence. For several long seconds, no one dared to speak. The chamber lights dimmed until only the faint glow of the murals remained. Rena turned toward Elias. "Captain, what do we do?" He looked at the ancient walls, the fading light, and the words echoing in his mind. "Are you alone?" Maybe this was not a question about isolation. Maybe it was a test, a way for something long gone to see if humanity had learned to stand together. He spoke quietly, almost to himself. "We keep listening." The crew prepared their scanners and recording devices. Outside, lightning rolled across the dark sky, as if the planet itself was waking from its long sleep. From the shadows deep within the ruin, unseen by the crew, a pair of glowing blue eyes opened. A voice whispered again, not through speakers but directly in their minds. "Do not be afraid. The Queen remembers." Elias felt a chill run through his spine. He didn't know why, but he could sense that this was only the beginning. As the Artemis Dawn's beacon pulsed through the nebula, carrying humanity's presence across the stars, something ancient stirred in the darkness beyond. And far away, in the cold depths of space, other signals began to answer. The air inside the ancient structure was thick with energy. Every breath felt heavy, like the weight of history pressed against the crew. Captain Elias Ward looked around the vast chamber, trying to understand what they had found. The walls glowed faintly, pulsing in rhythm with the ship's sensors. Lieutenant Rena Hale moved carefully beside him, her scanner in hand. "Captain, this whole place is alive," she whispered. "The energy here isn't just power, it's memory." Elias turned to Dr. Morgan Voss, the ship's scientist. "Can you confirm that?" Morgan nodded slowly, his eyes wide with fascination. "Yes, these walls are made of something like biometal. It's storing information, maybe even consciousness." A faint hum filled the room again. The voice that had spoken before returned, echoing softly through the chamber. "You have come far. Human." The sound was calm, almost kind, but beneath it was something else, a deep sadness like a memory of loss. "Identify yourself," Elias said, his voice steady, though his heart raced. There was silence, then a slow reply. "I am the last memory of the Elindra." The crew exchanged confused glances. "Elindra?" Rena repeated. "My people," the voice said. "We once ruled the stars. We built worlds, we shared knowledge. But even stars die, and so did we." The lights around them changed, forming moving holograms. The crew watched in awe as the images told a story older than humanity itself. Tall, graceful beings with glowing eyes filled the projections. They built floating cities, vast ships, and shining towers that reached the clouds. The Elindra had once been a peaceful and wise race. Then the holograms shifted. The skies darkened. A shadow spread across the stars. Whole worlds vanished into light. The Elindra fled, their voices filled with fear. "We thought we were alone," the voice said softly. "We were wrong." Rena felt a chill crawl up her arms. "Captain, she's warning us." Elias watched the holograms fade into dust. If this is true, then something destroyed them. And if that something still exists? He stopped. He didn't need to finish the sentence. They explored deeper into the structure. Long corridors stretched like veins through the metal heart of the ruin. The floors were covered with a thin layer of crystal dust that sparkled under their lamps. Astra, the ship's AI, guided them through the comms. "Captain, I am mapping the interior. The energy readings suggest a central core ahead. It may hold the source of the signal." "Understood," Elias said. "Keep a channel open." As they walked, the crew noticed more carvings on the walls, symbols of stars, circles within circles, and figures with wings of light. Each mural seemed to tell a fragment of the same story: creation, rise, and ruin. Dr. Voss stopped in front of one carving that showed a woman-like figure standing over a sea of stars. "This must be their leader," he said. "Maybe their queen." Rena tilted her head. "The queen of the Elindra." They kept walking until the tunnel opened into a grand chamber. At the center stood a crystal-like sarcophagus, tall and elegant, surrounded by pillars that emitted faint blue light. "This must be the core," Elias said quietly. As he stepped closer, Astra's voice came again, this time sharper. "Warning, Captain. Energy levels rising rapidly." Before he could respond, the sarcophagus began to glow. Lines of light raced across its surface, and a soft hum filled the air. The crystal slowly turned transparent, revealing the shape of a tall, slender being inside, female in form, her skin like pale silver glass. The crew stood frozen. Her eyes opened. They glowed with deep blue light. "Ancient and calm, you came," she said softly. Her voice wasn't loud, yet it filled every corner of the room. Rena stepped back, whispering, "She's alive." Dr. Voss shook his head in disbelief. "No, she's not alive in the normal sense. She's preserved, part of the structure itself." Elias took a careful step forward. "Who are you?" The being looked at him. "I was called Seraphine, Queen of the Elindra. My people are gone. I remain as memory and echo." Elias felt a shiver down his spine. "We received your message. Are you alone?" "Why did you send it?" Seraphine tilted her head slightly. "Because loneliness destroyed us. We sought connection beyond the stars, but what we found brought ruin." Her words echoed through the chamber. The glowing pillars dimmed, showing images again. Elindra fleets shining in the void, then disappearing into storms of light. "We reached out," she continued, "and awakened the devourers, beings without form, hunger without end. They consumed our suns and silenced our worlds." Rena's voice trembled. "And now you think they will come for us?" Seraphine's expression softened. "I do not think, I know. The same pattern has begun again. Your species sends signals across the stars calling out for friends. The darkness hears." Elias looked down deep in thought. Humanity had always wanted to connect, to prove it wasn't alone. But what if that desire brought danger? Still, he couldn't accept fear as the answer. "Then why reach out to us?" he asked. "Why warn us?" Seraphine's blue eyes shone brighter. "Because you remind me of what we once were. You carry both hope and fire. You have the strength to stand when others fall, perhaps. You can finish what we could not." Her gaze met his, and for a brief moment Elias felt she could see his thoughts, his memories, his fears, his belief in humanity. He took a slow breath. "Tell us what happened to your people. Maybe we can learn from it." For hours, Seraphine shared the memories stored within her. The crew listened, fascinated and horrified as she spoke of the Elindra's rise and fall. They had mastered energy, life, and matter itself. They could move planets, heal stars, and travel faster than light, but their pride had blinded them. When they met the Devourers, they believed their power would be enough to protect them. It wasn't. "They were not creatures," Seraphine said softly. "They were forces, living storms that fed on thought and light. They silenced everything we built. Dr. Voss clenched his fists. So the Alindra created this world to hide? Yes, she replied. We sealed our knowledge here, hoping someone would find it. Someone worthy. Elias looked around the glowing chamber. And now we have... Seraphine's expression changed. Half hope, half sorrow. Perhaps. But knowledge alone is not enough. You must have unity. The Devourers destroyed us because we turned on each other when fear took root. Her words struck Elias deeply. Humanity, too, was divided, nations, colonies, corporations, all fighting for power. If something like the Devourers came, would humans unite or fall apart? He didn't know. Suddenly, the structure trembled. The lights flickered. Astra's voice came urgently through the comm. Captain, power readings are spiking across the planet. The signal you discovered is now broadcasting again, stronger than before. Seraphine turned toward the ceiling as if listening to something distant. The awakening has begun, she said softly. My presence has stirred the old machines. The Devourers will sense it. Rena looked alarmed. Can we stop it? Seraphine shook her head. No, the only way forward is to prepare. There is a chamber below this one, a command vault. It holds the legacy of the Alindra. You must see it, Elias nodded. Lead the way. The floor opened with a low hum, revealing a spiral staircase made of light. The crew descended, their hearts pounding. Below, they entered a smaller chamber filled with floating crystals. Each crystal contained visions, maps of galaxies, designs for ships, and strange blueprints written in glowing symbols. Seraphine's voice echoed softly. This is what remains of my people's knowledge. Take it, learn from it. The future may still be written differently. Elias looked at one of the crystals. It showed Earth surrounded by countless stars. Humanity's place among them looked small, fragile, yet full of promise. He turned back to her. We won't waste this chance. Seraphine smiled faintly, a flicker of warmth in her otherwise calm face. Then there is hope. The walls trembled again, dust falling from above. Outside, lightning flashed across the sky. Elias looked upward. We should return to the ship before this place collapses. Seraphine nodded slowly. Go. I will guide you again when the time is right. Her image began to fade, the light around her dimming until only the soft echo of her voice remained. Remember, Captain Ward, you are not as alone as you think. As the crew hurried back to the surface, Elias looked back one last time at the glowing chamber. The Queen's face lingered in his mind, calm yet haunting. He didn't know whether to feel fear or hope. But one thing was certain. The message that had started it all was no longer a mystery, it was a warning. And now humanity had to decide what to do with it. The return to the Artemis Dawn was silent. None of the crew spoke as they crossed the stormy plains of the forgotten world. Every mind was filled with the same thought. The alien queen, Seraphine, was not only real but awake in a way they didn't understand. Captain Elias Ward looked up at the swirling clouds. The storm seemed to react to their presence, glowing faintly with blue lightning. The planet itself felt alive, as if watching them. Inside the ship, Lieutenant Rena Hale removed her helmet and rubbed her temples. It doesn't feel like we just found a ruin, she said quietly. It feels like we woke up something ancient. Dr. Morgan Voss nodded, staring at the glowing artifact he had brought from the chamber. A crystal sphere filled with soft, swirling light. And that something might not be done with us yet. The AI Astra spoke gently from the control room speakers. Captain, sensors show increased energy activity across the planet's surface. The Queen's chamber appears to be reactivating. The signal strength is rising by the minute. Elias frowned. How strong? Enough to reach every listening post in the sector, Astra replied. If anyone or anything is out there, they'll hear it. A cold silence filled the room. Everyone knew what that meant. As the ship powered up, the planet trembled again. A beam of blue light shot up from the surface, piercing through the storm clouds and into space. Rena stared at it through the viewport. Captain, that's not just a signal, it's a beacon. Elias clenched his jaw. Then we need answers. Astra, open a channel to the Queen's chamber. The lights dimmed as Astra linked with the ancient system. Static filled the speakers for a few seconds, then cleared. The familiar calm voice returned. Captain Ward, Seraphine said softly. You should not have returned to your ship yet. The awakening has begun. Elias felt that chill again. What do you mean by awakening? There was a long pause, then her tone grew more solemn. I was once a being of flesh, but now I am memory. You touched my core and it responded to your presence. The machines that sleep beneath this world are linked to me. Through me? They live again. Dr. Voss leaned forward. Are you saying your mind is controlling the entire planet? Not control, she answered. Connection. This world was built to remember the Alindra. When I fell, my mind was joined to its heart. I became its guardian, Rena asked softly. Why us? Why call to humans? For a moment, no one spoke. Then Seraphine's voice came again, gentle, almost like a whisper. Because you are like us once were. Brave, curious, foolish, you carry light within your fear. Elias looked around at his crew. You said before that your people were destroyed because they reached out. If we are repeating your mistakes, how can we avoid the same end? By learning to stand together, Seraphine said. When the Devourers came, we turned on each other. Fear divided us. We forgot who we were, but you still have time. Her words echoed through the cabin, filling everyone with both hope and dread. Later that night, Elias sat alone in the observation deck. Outside, the nebula glowed like a sea of shifting fire. He couldn't stop thinking about what Seraphine had said. Humanity had always wanted to prove it wasn't alone. But what if being not alone came with danger? Rena joined him quietly, handing him a mug of warm drink. You can't sleep either, huh? He smiled faintly. How could I? We're talking to a 10,000-year-old alien queen, and she might have just sent our coordinates to something that eats stars. Rena looked out the window. Do you think she's telling the truth? I don't know, Elias said honestly. But I feel like she's not lying. She's tired, like she's been waiting for someone to listen. A sudden tremor shook the ship. Alarms lit up. Astra's voice cut through the quiet. Captain, the Queen's signal has increased to full power. It's creating dimensional distortion around the planet. Elias stood immediately. Bridge now! When the crew reached the control room, the screens were filled with waves of energy surrounding the planet. It looked like an enormous blue storm spreading outward. Dr. Voss checked the readings. It's not attacking. It's forming a barrier, some kind of shield, Astra confirmed. Correct. The energy field matches Elindra defense systems recorded from the holograms. Estimated strength immense. Then Seraphine's voice filled the bridge again. Do not be afraid. I am not your enemy. The main screen flickered and suddenly her image appeared. No longer a hologram, but a full projection. She stood tall and graceful, her luminous eyes focused on Elias. Captain Ward, she said. The Devourers sensed the light. They moved toward it. But this world will protect you for now, Rena whispered. She's here. She's actually here. Elias stepped closer to the projection. You said we have time. What do you want us to do? Seraphine raised a hand and images filled the air. Star maps, energy flows, and designs for massive constructs. The Elindra left behind something, our final hope. A weapon not made for destruction, but for unity. It draws strength from the minds of those who share one purpose. It failed for us because we were divided. For you, it might succeed. Dr. Voss's eyes widened. You're talking about a telepathic weapon? Something powered by thought? By harmony, she replied. By belief, Elias studied the maps. They showed ancient coordinates scattered across the galaxy, hidden stations, waiting to be reactivated. If we find these, he said slowly, we can use them to fight the Devourers. Seraphine's expression softened. If you stand as one, the weapon's strength is not fire or steel, it is will. Only a united mind can command it. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Alarms blared again. Astra spoke sharply. Captain, an unknown signal has entered local space. Multiple signatures approaching at high velocity. Rena's hands flew across the console. They're ships, but not human. Elias's heart pounded. Visuals. The screen filled with dark metallic vessels descending through the clouds. Their shape was unlike anything the crew had seen. Long, insect-like, moving with silent precision. Dr. Voss whispered, Could those be Devourers? Seraphine turned her gaze to the view outside. Her voice lowered. No, they are shadows, remnants of the Elindra's defense fleet. They answer my awakening. Rena exhaled in relief, but only slightly. They're on our side, right? Seraphine's eyes glowed brighter. For now. The ancient ships hovered above the surface, surrounding the Artemis Dawn. Blue symbols flickered across their hulls. Then one by one they powered down and rested on the ground. Seraphine turned back to Elias. Their memory remains, but their minds are gone. Empty shells. If you wish to save your kind, you must learn to command them. Elias looked stunned. Us control alien ships? You carry my key, she said, gesturing to the glowing artifact Dr. Voss held. That crystal holds a part of my consciousness. Together we can awaken the fleet. Dr. Voss handed the artifact to Elias. As soon as his hands touched it, light spread across the bridge. The Queen's projection moved closer, her presence stronger now, almost real. Close your eyes, she said softly. Elias hesitated, then obeyed. He felt warmth, then a flood of images, stars, cities, the faces of the Alindra. He saw their last battle, their hope, their fall, and through it all he heard Seraphine's voice inside his mind. Do you understand now, human? Power means nothing without purpose. The question is not if you are alone. The question is, can you stand together? The light faded. Elias opened his eyes. The artifact had dimmed, but he could feel something inside him, an echo of the Queen's presence. Seraphine looked at him with calm satisfaction. Now you carry the link. Through you, the fleet will awaken when the time comes. Rena stepped closer, awe in her eyes. Captain, your heartbeat, it's synchronized with the ship's readings. Elias took a deep breath. I can feel them. All of them. The ships, the planet, even her. Seraphine's form began to flicker. Our connection weakens. My power fades with each moment of the awakening. But remember what I told you, Elias Ward. The universe is not kind to the lonely. Stay united. Stay human. And with that, her image dissolved into light. For a long moment, no one spoke. The ship's lights returned to normal. The hum of engines steady once more. Dr. Voss broke the silence. Captain, do you think we can really use what she left behind? Elias looked out the window at the dark sky, where the ancient ship slept among the clouds. I don't know, he said quietly. But humanity has always learned by walking into the unknown. Rena smiled faintly. Then I guess it's time to start walking again. Outside, lightning flashed once more, illuminating the silent world below. Somewhere deep underground, the Queen's voice whispered one last time, barely audible, carried on the wind. You are not alone, Elias Ward. But soon, others will come. The crew of the Artemis Dawn stood silently on the bridge, staring out at the world below. The stormy skies of the forgotten planet still swirled with blue lightning, echoing the heartbeat of the alien queen, Seraphine, whose presence lingered faintly in their minds. Captain Elias Ward held the glowing crystal artifact in his hand, feeling a subtle hum running through his veins. It was as if the Queen's consciousness had left a piece of herself within him, a guide, a warning and a power all at once. Captain, Lieutenant Rena Hale said, her voice tense. The readings from the ancient fleet are stabilizing. The ships are responding to the artifact. Elias nodded slowly. So the Queen was right. We can awaken them, but we have to decide how. Dr. Morgan Voss frowned, studying the star maps displayed on the console. It's not just about powering up the ships. The moment we awaken them, the Devourers will sense it. Their reaction could be immediate. Rena swallowed hard. We could hide. Stay quiet. Avoid drawing attention until we're ready. Elias shook his head. And what if hiding doesn't work? If these Devourers exist, they won't wait for us to be ready. They'll come whether we are prepared or not. We can't run forever. Astra, the ship's AI, spoke calmly. Captain, activating the Alindra fleet requires a synchronized will. Their systems respond to intent, not commands. Unity is essential. Division could render the weapon useless or even dangerous. Elias took a deep breath. Then we have no choice. We prepare, and we unite. The crew began activating the ancient systems. They worked together in tense silence, following instructions that seemed almost impossible. The artifact pulsed with a soft blue glow, guiding their hands and actions. Holographic symbols floated above the consoles, forming complex patterns, almost like music in visual form. Dr. Voss marveled. This technology, it's unlike anything humans have ever built. It's alive in a way, responding to thought and emotion as much as to energy. Rena glanced at Elias. Do you think we can do it? He met her gaze steadily. We have to. Humanity isn't perfect, but we're strong because we try, even when the odds are against us. This is our chance to prove it. Deep beneath the planet's surface, the ancient weapon began to stir. Massive structures rose from the ground as if the world itself were awakening. The air hummed with power, vibrating through every crystal and metallic surface. Seraphine's voice, soft but clear, returned in Elias's mind. The Devourers will sense your light soon. Their presence is approaching. They will test you. The bridge shook slightly. Rena's hands flew across the controls. Multiple energy signatures approaching. Captain, it's not the fleet. Something else is coming. Elias's jaw tightened. Show me. On the main screen, enormous shadowy forms moved through space. They weren't ships. They were living storms of darkness, shapes that seemed to absorb light and energy. The Devourers had arrived, Dr. Voss whispered. The Elindra, they failed. Can we succeed where they could not? Elias clenched his fists. We don't have the luxury of asking. We have to try. The Queen's artifact glowed brighter in his hand. Light spread across the room and into the fleet below. One by one, the Elindra ships powered up, their dark hulls illuminated by blue energy. Holographic wings and markings appeared on each vessel, glowing like symbols of hope. Rena gasped. They're beautiful. Elias focused, placing his hand on the artifact and closing his eyes. He felt the fleet respond to his thoughts, his emotions, his resolve. Fear and hesitation threatened to overwhelm him, but he remembered Seraphine's words. Unity is strength. Division is death, he thought of his crew. Their faces, their courage, their loyalty. They were not alone. Humanity was not alone. A surge of energy ran through him. The ships below mirrored his heartbeat. For a moment he felt every machine, every crystal, every star system linked together. Then a deep rumble filled the planet. The Devourers had sensed the awakening. In space, the dark shapes shifted, moving faster, closer. Their presence was overwhelming, crushing, cold and hungry. The stars around them flickered as if reacting to their passage. Elias opened his eyes and spoke aloud. Now we stand together. All of us, ready the fleet. Rena and Dr. Voss nodded, coordinating the systems as they merged human skill with alien technology. The ships responded, their engines glowing brighter, shields humming with energy. The Artemis Dawn became the central command, guiding the fleet through thought and intent. Astra added calmly, Captain, the Devourers are assessing your fleet. Their approach is cautious but swift. Elias took a deep breath. We won't retreat. Not this time. Humanity faces whatever comes together. The Devourers stopped at the edge of the planetary system. Dark forms stretched across space, massive yet invisible in many ways. The Queen's artifact pulsed with energy, sending a clear signal. Humanity is awake. We are united. One of the Devourers' forms shifted closer. Elias felt a pressure in his mind, a probing presence seeking to test his courage, to find weakness. Hold steady, he said, speaking aloud more to himself than anyone else. We will not falter. The artifact's glow expanded and the Elindra fleet responded. Ships formed defensive formations, shields rising in a perfect pattern. The Devourers recoiled slightly as if surprised by the strength of unity. Dr. Voss whispered, It's working. The weapon responds to our determination. Elias nodded. It's not just power. It's belief, hope, will, that's what they fear. The Queen's voice returned, faint but firm. Do not be afraid, Elias Ward. Courage is your greatest weapon. Fear is the Devourer's ally, not yours. You are not alone. Remember this. Elias felt a wave of confidence wash over him. He raised his hand over the artifact, sending a pulse of energy across the fleet. Every ship aligned perfectly, engines glowing, shields resonating. The Artemis Dawn was at the center, linking human intention with alien design. Rena gasped. It's beautiful. They're all responding. Dr. Voss nodded in amazement. The Elindra left this for someone worthy. And maybe we are. Outside, the Devourers hesitated, sensing the unexpected strength. They had destroyed civilizations before, but nothing like this. Something new had awakened, human will combined with alien legacy. Time slowed as the fleet and the Devourers faced each other across the void. Every second felt like a heartbeat, a test of courage, a proof of unity. Elias spoke to his crew. Together, humanity can do what no one else could. We face the darkness not with fear, but with light. We stand as one. The artifact pulsed brighter. The Elindra fleet's wings of light expanded, forming patterns across the planet and into space. It was not a weapon of destruction. It was a beacon, a signal of unity and strength, a warning and a promise at the same time. The Devourers hesitated, shifting their shadows, unsure of how to proceed. They had not faced belief before. Not hope, not courage, not unity. Elias held the artifact tightly. "We are ready, and we are not alone." The Queen's faint voice whispered again in his mind. "Well done, human. You have begun to learn what my people forgot. Strength lies not in power alone, but in standing together. Remember this." The Devourers withdrew slowly, sensing that the human-alien fleet was stronger than expected. The shadows receded, leaving the stars intact, at least for now. Rena let out a shaky breath. They pulled back, Dr. Voss smiled faintly. Humanity made them hesitate. For the first time in countless millennia, something alive in the universe resisted them. Not by destruction, but by unity. Elias looked at the fleet below, at the artifact glowing softly in his hand, and at the swirling storms above the planet. "This is only the beginning," he said. "But we've survived the first test. Humanity stands taller today than ever before." The crew shared a quiet moment of relief, knowing that the journey ahead would be difficult, but also knowing that together, they could face whatever came next. Above the planet, the Alindra fleet rested once more, waiting for the next command. And somewhere deep within the artifact, the Queen's echo whispered again, a promise for the future. "You are not alone, never alone." The Artemis dawn floated silently above the alien world, its hull glinting under the stormy glow of the nebula. Below, the Alindra fleet rested, vast and silent, waiting to respond once more. The artifact pulsed softly in Captain Elias Ward's hand, carrying the faint echo of Seraphine, the alien queen. The storm outside had calmed, leaving only a quiet hum of energy across the planet. The crew worked on the bridge, scanning, mapping, and connecting systems to the fleet below. Each of them understood what had happened. Humanity had awakened a power that could change the balance of the galaxy. But it would take unity, courage, and wisdom to control it. Elias stood at the viewport, staring at the swirling nebula. The voice of the Queen still lingered in his mind. "You are not alone." Never alone, he turned to his crew. "We have faced the first threat, but now the question is, what do we do next?" Rena Hale spoke first, her voice steady. "We reach out to other civilizations. We let them know we exist and that we are willing to stand together." Dr. Morgan Voss nodded. "If the Devourers are out there, they will be tracking all life. But if we connect with other species, we might not have to face them alone. Knowledge and unity are our best defense." Elias smiled faintly. "Then we send the signal. Humanity will speak to the stars." The crew prepared a massive beacon using the Queen's technology. It combined the Alindra's energy design with human ingenuity. The signal would be a call, a message not of fear but of hope, a promise of unity and life across the galaxy. As the preparations continued, Elias felt the weight of responsibility pressing on him. He held the artifact in both hands, feeling Seraphine's consciousness intertwined with his own. Her calm, ancient presence reminded him that humanity was capable of greatness, but only if it stood together. Rena adjusted the controls. "The beacon is ready, Captain, but sending the signal will broadcast our presence across multiple star systems. There's no hiding afterward." Elias nodded. "Then we won't hide. Humanity will face the universe openly with courage." Astra's voice came gently. "Captain, the energy levels are stable. The signal will project across the nebula and beyond, reaching systems previously unaware of our presence." Dr. Voss looked at the screens in awe. "It's beautiful. Not just a signal, but a message of life, hope, and cooperation. It's more than anything we could have imagined." Elias took a deep breath and activated the beacon. A pulse of blue light shot from the planet's surface, stretching across the nebula like a river of stars. The Alindra fleet responded, engines humming in harmony, shields glowing with protective energy. The artifact in Elias's hand glowed brighter, merging human intent with alien design. Through the bridge comms, the voice of the Queen echoed faintly. "Your courage will be remembered, human. You are not alone. Others will answer when the time is right." Outside, distant star systems began to respond. Flickers of light appeared, faint signals in response to humanity's beacon. Elias leaned forward, studying the readings. "They're coming. The signals. Life is responding." Rena's eyes widened. "Civilizations. They heard us," Dr. Voss smiled. "It's happening. Humanity is no longer alone. The beacon's light spread farther than anyone had imagined. Hidden planets long thought empty flickered with activity. Strange shapes appeared in the distance. Ships, habitats, and cities of species unknown to humans. The message was clear. We exist. We stand together. We are awake. Elias felt a warmth in his chest. After centuries of fear, isolation, and uncertainty, humanity had finally reached the stars, and the stars had answered. The Devourers, sensing the vast network of life forming, hesitated once more. Their shadows lingered at the edges of known space, but they did not strike. For the first time in countless millennia, a united signal of life had given pause to the universe's greatest predators. Seraphine's presence strengthened in Elias's mind. You have learned well, Captain. You have reminded the universe that life, hope, and unity are stronger than fear and darkness. Elias whispered. We couldn't have done this without you. No, she said softly. But you did it yourselves. Humanity carries the spark now. Tend it well. The bridge of the Artemis Dawn was filled with quiet awe. Rena leaned against the console, smiling. We've made history. The universe knows we exist, and that we're ready. Dr. Voss looked at Elias. Do you think the Queen will ever fully return? Elias shook his head. I don't know. But her presence is here, in us, in the fleet, in the signal. She isn't gone, she's guiding us from the echoes of her people. And that's enough. Astra's calm voice spoke again. Captain, additional responses are incoming. Thousands of signals. Unknown civilizations are beginning to communicate. Elias's eyes widened. Then humanity has done it. We've opened the galaxy to cooperation, not war. We are no longer alone. Over the next hours, the crew began decoding the incoming signals. Each response was different. Strange symbols, lights, and sounds that conveyed intelligence, curiosity, and life. The Alindra fleet adjusted to these new signals, forming a network of protection and communication unlike anything the universe had ever seen. Rena laughed softly. They're answering. They want to talk. Dr. Voss nodded. Every message is a chance to learn, to grow, to unite. This is the beginning of a new era. Elias stood at the viewport, gazing at the nebula and the glowing beacon below. The galaxy seemed alive, vibrant with connection, pulsing with hope. Humanity had reached out, and for the first time the stars reached back. The artifact's light pulsed one last time, gentle and steady. Elias could feel Seraphine's approval, a quiet satisfaction. She had entrusted humanity with the legacy of her people, and they had proven themselves worthy. The next days passed in a flurry of activity. Humanity's first interstellar communications began, guided by the Alindra fleet and the artifact's ancient knowledge. Messages were exchanged with civilizations previously hidden in the shadows of space. Ships traveled to meet distant worlds. Trade, knowledge, and culture flowed across the stars. Elias walked on the observation deck, the stormy planet below now calm, peaceful. We did it, he whispered. Humanity is awake. Rena joined him, placing a hand on his shoulder. And we'll make sure we stay awake. We won't be alone again. Dr. Voss added, the Queen's gift is more than technology. It's a lesson. Unity, courage, hope. Those are the true weapons against darkness, Elias smiled. Then we'll carry them always. Far beyond the nebula, hidden in the depths of space, civilizations began responding to humanity's beacon. Unknown stars lit up with activity. Ships traveled faster than ever before. Life, curiosity, and hope spread like a gentle tide. Somewhere in the quiet, ancient world below, the Alindra fleet stood ready, a silent promise that no species would face the universe alone. And in the echoes of the artifact, Seraphine's words lingered, comforting and powerful. You are not alone. Never alone. Elias looked at the stars and whispered the same question that had begun it all. Are we alone? The galaxy seemed to reply, not in words but in light, movement, and life. Not anymore. And in that moment, humanity understood something profound. The universe was vast and sometimes dangerous, but it was also alive, full of wonder and companionship. Humanity was no longer a lone spark in the void. It was part of something greater, something eternal, and something worth protecting. For the first time, Captain Elias Ward smiled with certainty. Humanity had reached the stars, and the stars had reached back.